Welcome back and welcome to my October wrap up. Finally it is here. Apologies it is so late, but if you haven't already seen, I was spending time at Walt Disney World in Orlando and I left on the 29th of October. So I left at the end of October, and obviously I wanted to give myself plenty of reading time to bring you my full wrap up. I do have my first of those Disney vlogs up already, so I will leave it linked up here, and in a moment I will also link my October mid-month wrap up, because I did a chunk of reading before filming that one. At the beginning of the month I was in a bit of a reading slump, then I picked it up, and so I filmed a mid-month wrap up for you to tide you over until I could bring you this full wrap up. And I have the last few books I read in the month to talk about just now. So I have one book that I read on audio that I do not have a physical copy of. I had a review audio copy of this one from Penguin Random House, so thank you very much to them for providing me with that, and that is Dear Girls by Ali Wong. I really love Ali Wong's stand-up, and I love the stuff that she has acted in as well. I just think she's fantastic, and so listening to this book was a bit like watching one of her stand-ups. Just sat listening to it when I was down in the gym, listening to it when I was in the car, listening to it. Felt like I was just sat watching one of her stand-ups. I really enjoyed it. It's done as a series of kind of essays, but it's written as letters to her daughters, and then we have a kind of afterword from her husband as well, which was really interesting. I think that was a really interesting thing to do. I'm definitely glad that I did this on audio, because she reads it, and so it really was just like listening to her tell jokes. One thing that I was slightly put off by, stopped it kind of being an ideal book for me because I loved everything else about it, is that she does kind of slag off reviewers, YouTubers, and I'm like, well, I'm going to probably be talking about this on my book blog and my YouTube channel. I'm not sure about that, but you know, I didn't take it personally, but if you're looking for reviews from people who review things, maybe don't slag them off. That's not such a good idea. But yes, I did that on audio, really enjoyed it, really recommend it, even though that one little thing, the rest of it was very funny and very real and very honest. And if you have enjoyed her Netflix specials, you will definitely enjoy this book. But you don't have to watch the Netflix specials in order to read this book. There's no like link there, it's not a follow-up. Then in my previous video, my previous mid-month wrap-up, which will have been linked up here, I mentioned that I was nearly finished with this book, and so probably whilst uploading that one, I did finish listening to this one, but I do have a physical copy of it here. Are you ready for this beauty? I haven't hauled it yet because it's literally hot out of my suitcase, fresh from the UK. It is Christmas Shopaholic by Sophie Kinsella. I'm just going to give you a very quick tour of this book because I am going to talk about it in a book haul as well. This is the exclusive Waterstones signed edition. It's got some shiny stuff on it. It's got some shiny lettering here. It's got some glitzy lettering here and some shiny stuff here. There's no shiny stuff on the back. It has a red sprayed edge here and a red sprayed edge here. And then this is the moment. This is it. It's got a candy cane sprayed edge here. It is just a beautiful book. It is also an excellent read. This feels like classic Becky Bloomwood, Becky Brandon, Nay Bloomwood. This feels like just a lovely Christmas story. You could read this one as a standalone Christmas story. My edition is signed. It also has wonderful festive end papers. They've really gone to town on this book. It has everything you could want bar a map. You definitely could read this one if you're not already a Shopaholic fan, but if you are a fan, I do recommend making sure that you've read all the books in the series, because otherwise this book is going to give you spoilers. I just it's just beautiful. It was so much fun. I laughed out loud, which again, when you're in the gym, quite embarrassing. When you're in the car, not so bad. And the last couple of chapters made me cry a little bit as well. I have a full review of this one on my blog, and my blog is always linked in the description box. So if you want to read my written review of this one, you can go and have a look over there. Then one that I got from the library in kind of preparation for my Disney trip, I read Conceal, Don't Feel, A Twisted Tale, What If Anna and Elsa Never Knew Each Other. This book is a twisted take on Frozen, and I so enjoyed reading this one. It was a lovely quick read. It is a middle grade series, and the beginning and the ending of the book are very, very different to the film, but the kind of middle, aka main story points sections, you will recognize from the film. So if you are a Frozen fan, you will like this one. I then watched the film as we were preparing for takeoff to Disney on my flight from Denver, as it was snowing outside, and watching all the ice and the snow in the film. It's like, oh, not sure if this is the right moment to be watching it, but I'm glad that I watched the book and the film in tandem. I don't think there's any point in doing a book versus movie video on this one, because it's just such a different thing. It's basically the movie, but they've taken the beginning and the ending and twisted them, so they changed slightly. But it has encouraged me to maybe seek out and read more of these twisted tales. I think this is book 7 in the series. I think that okay, it doesn't tell me. The other ones are all written by the same person, and then this is a new author, but we have like Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty, Aladdin, The Little Mermaid, and I'm definitely going to consider reading these, probably do them on audio, but I really enjoyed this. And then I did have to look back at my previous video to see which I talked about. I can't remember that I talked about this one, but I listened to Looking for Alaska by John Green. I do have this physical copy, collector's edition version of it, and it was a reread for me, but I reread it because I am currently watching the TV series of Looking for Alaska, which is a Hulu series, and I'm watching that, and then I'm going to make a book versus movie for you. I think when I was watching it, not all the episodes were up, and it's quite a big time investment doing a book versus TV series, so I'm making my way through them. So the book versus TV series will be coming, and then in November I'm currently rereading Let It Snow by John Green, Lauren Miracle and Maureen Johnson, ready for the Let It Snow movie, which is a Netflix exclusive. So there's a lot of John Green rereading, book versus movie making. I recently made my book versus movie for The Fault in Our Stars, which if you haven't seen it, I'll link it somewhere for you. But yes, re-listen to this one. I definitely liked it more on the second reading. I wasn't a massive fan on the first reading. I've only watched the first episode of the TV series so far, so I will reserve judgment on that until I make the full video for you. Then this one was a big surprise for me. I got the physical book from the library, but I was on hold for the audiobook. The audiobook came quite quickly, and so I started reading it, and I was like, this is really excellent. This kind of has exceeded my expectations. I haven't heard a whole lot of people talking about it, even though it was an option for a book of the month pick. I think 2 months ago, perhaps just last month. I don't know what month it is right now. A little bit tired from my trip, but this is Hello Girls, which is by, oh, I hate it when they stick the library sticker over the author on the front and the spine. This is by Brittany Cavallaro and Emily Henry, and this is kind of a bit of a Thelma and Louise type story. It's two friends who have really quite horrible things going on in their lives and decide that they are going to take matters into their own hands and go on an epic road trip that's going to try and change the future for both of them. It's definitely, this is young adult, but I would say it's definitely towards the older end of the spectrum. I don't like putting ages on things. However, the things that these girls are dealing with are quite dark and are quite heavy hitting, and they're kind of fully explored in this book, and so just be aware of that going into it. However, I think it's incredibly well done. It had me gripped right from the word go, and I absolutely flew through it. I loved listening to the audio, and I just think the whole story was really amazing, and I really enjoyed it. So highly recommend this if you're looking for some more hard-hitting YA that's got some humor and a really good storyline in there. Definitely loved it. Exceeded my expectations, kind of didn't know what I was getting myself into going into it, but yeah, really enjoyed it. And then another one which definitely exceeded my expectations, and I can see myself for sure rereading. I got a sampler of this one at Book Expo. I have a signed sampler of it, but I decided to go ahead and order the finished copy because it's one of these hardbacks that doesn't have a dust jacket, and I love this. This is actually another graphic novel, and this is Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and Faith Erin Hicks, and this is just the cutest thing you'll ever read. It's perfect to read now in the run up to Thanksgiving when you've got your pumpkin spice everything. It does have a map as the end pages, and then just the illustrations are wonderful, and I absolutely love the whole story. I really enjoyed the story from start to finish. I read it one Saturday morning in one sitting with a cup of coffee and some breakfast, and just really enjoyed it. And talking about it now, I'm like, yes, I definitely would like to reread this. I would like to revisit these characters again and possibly pick out some things that I missed the first time. So if you are looking for a cute, I think that this is either like, it kind of blurs that line between middle grade and young adult. I would say it's like 6th grade. I don't know, but yeah, highly recommend this one. And I am not middle grade or young adult, but I just really enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun. And there you have it. I do have some other things that I started and didn't finish in the month of October. I really thought I was going to finish more. I took some books with me on the plane. I have some audiobooks that I had all lined up and some ebooks that I had lined up for the plane. And then with all the snow and the changes of flights and what have you, I just was not in the headspace to read. I was only in the headspace to watch Frozen and Monsters Inc. And that is all I did on my flight. And once I arrived at Disney, I was just at Disney doing all the walking and the eating and the walking and the eating, and that was it. So I already posted my November TBR, so I will have linked that above for you. I'll link it on the end screen of the video as well in case you haven't already seen that one. I didn't make my November TBR too extensive because I thought there might be some leftovers from October, just not knowing how things would go on my journey and what have you. So that is already up if you want to watch that. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what your favourite book that you read in the month of October was. Would love to hear from you. Make sure you are subscribed so that my next video, whether that is a bookish video, a movie video, or a Disney video, lands in your subscription feed. And I will be back with another video for you very soon. So I will see you then. Bye.